Almost 80 million Americans have problems with medical bills, according to a survey published by the Commonwealth Fund. That number of those facing difficulties is up 34% since 2005 on top of that. If you're a healthcare professional or practice manager and you hear that statistic, it's discouraging. Now, I could go into further detail based on the survey's results and break down all of the reasons why so many modern-day patients struggle with paying off their medical bills, but that falls outside of the scope of this video. The bottom line is that you need to implement safeguards in your practice to protect your accounts receivables. You simply can't afford not to. How are you supposed to operate if your patients can't pay you? The best way to protect your revenue as a healthcare organization and/or practice is by establishing a comprehensive collections process. In other words, the majority of what your team's efforts should pertain to after a patient receives treatment is collecting from them. One of the most important steps in your established collections process is calling on your patients. The only question then is, what exactly do you say? Hi everyone, I'm Matt from Tactics, and today I'm going to show you 6 scripts for collecting money from your patients that actually work. Before we get started though, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the button below. While you're down there, hit that alert bell icon next to it as well, so when we post new helpful content, you get notified. Nearly 20% of patients admit that the reason why they didn't pay their medical bills on time was that they simply forgot. That statistic is the sole reason why the first script I have for you is for the forgetful patient. Forgetting bills happens more often than you think, and you shouldn't hold it against the person you're calling. As such, you'll notice the politeness involved in the script that I'm showing you right now. The team member frames the conversation in a way that's collaborative. It's almost as if they're outright saying, hey, let's work together as a team and settle your balance. Of course, it's not always going to be this easy. There will be times when that person on the other end forgot and they don't have time to pay on the first call that you give them. If that's the case, call them the next day and let them know that before they hang up. The second script I have for you deals with patients who didn't receive their statement in the first place. A worst case scenario for many healthcare organizations is sending a patient's medical bill to the wrong address. That's considered a HIPAA violation, and it could lead to a large fine from the government if the mistakes happen on a large scale. Of course, if you call one of your patients and they state that they've never received their statement to begin with, that doesn't always mean that their bill went to the wrong address. Maybe there was a printer error or a mailing error. Either way, your script should look as follows. To take this phone call a step further, you should provide your team with an email template to use in tandem with a patient that prefers online payment. That way the team can send up a follow-up email with payment instructions immediately after the call. The third and fourth scripts I have for you deal with if the bill was incorrect. 80% of all medical bills contain errors. That statistic isn't very encouraging. Of course, the error doesn't have to be on a services and/or charges level. It could be contact information related. In any case, what I'm trying to say is that having a script ready to go that helps guide your team through the scenario where there was a mistake in billing is essential. What you'll find is that some patients think that there's a mistake on their bill, but it's a misunderstanding of their charges. Due to that reason, it's a good idea to create a script that has if logic built into it. If the mistake is real, then go this route. If the mistake is a misunderstanding though, say this instead. Over a quarter of patients have had trouble paying off a recent medical bill. This brings me to why the fifth script I have for you deals with patients who run into financial trouble. It's a hard statistic to swallow, yet it's the reality that many healthcare organizations need to understand. The cost of healthcare doesn't show any signs of decreasing anytime soon either. In other words, your practice needs to prepare itself for the inevitable conversation with a patient that has financial trouble. Discussing the financial situation with a patient that owes you money is a sensitive topic, but it's possible to navigate such a conversation in a way that's collaborative and beneficial to both parties. Sure, establishing a payment plan might take longer to receive what's owed to you in full. However, they allow you to predict your accounts receivable and ensure cash flow is coming into your organization. The final script for collecting money from patients that I have for you is actually for voicemail. You can't make a few phone calls without running into a few answering machines. These days, every generation has a different preference when it comes to communicating with them. To make matters worse, 73% of people say that it's increasingly more difficult to reach them via the phone. Yet, all is not lost because 1 in 3 people listen to their voicemails. Believe it or not, that's a high success rate. Because of the inevitability of your phone calls hitting voicemail though, you should create a script for that as well. Having a script for collection-based voicemails is particularly helpful for healthcare organizations because HIPAA still applies. Establishing a series of scripts for collecting money from your patients isn't some new age, groundbreaking idea. It's a process that the biggest collection organizations have in place to ensure that their clients get paid. Yet, you don't have to automatically write off all of the bad debts and send them to such an agency. All you have to do is templatize some of your scripts around your patients that haven't paid you yet and make a few phone calls. If you'd like to learn more about collecting money from patients, reach out to eTactics. And you already made it this far into the video, so you might as well like it, share it, and comment below. Well, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to our YouTube channel.